Alright, let's bring that beat back. Where we program Minecraft mods live on camera and watch as things go kablooey as they inevitably do. This one's gonna be a little bit more ramshackle than we usually see it as. You know, we're gonna try and see what we can get together here. So lately we have been working on unconscious bodies, mainly you deal enough bludgeoning damage to a creature, it flops down on the ground, a little while later it gets up, but in the meantime you can access their inventory and fiddle with it, steal it, that kind of thing. Very intensely helpful, very like helpful kind of thing to have. Now in the past week, I have set up the entire new machine, so I can do whatever I like here in Minecraft, and it will not lag the stream one yacht, which is great. It has, however, meant that I've had to completely set back up the clips, which I haven't had to do since maybe 2015. So I'm still working on getting the odd thing going. The first piece of which will be fairly obvious the second that I actually show my HUD here, which is, if you see in the top left there, none of my abilities are coming off cooldown. And that's because, for whatever reason, mixin doesn't work at the moment. It's there, it doesn't cause an error, but it doesn't work. So one of the major pieces of the mixin for various oddities is that in the living tick of an entity, the living data gets ticked, and the living data ticking is what makes your abilities actually come off cooldown and all sorts. And mixin is also responsible for a whole ton of other things, like making my guy here semi-transparent and doing particle effects if they currently have mist form active. As it is, nothing is happening because none of that mixin is firing. I can't even actually turn those off, so they're just stuck there for the moment. So that's basically the first thing we need to fix, because the living data tick is also responsible for making unconscious bodies spawn. So we need to actually get that working again, or else we can't do anything tonight. But I have otherwise gotten the setup for testing 2 players in multiplayer going, so we should at least be able to get that going once we're there. Otherwise, there hasn't really been very much development this past week. My past week has been more or less building armor, setting everything up. Things still need a bit of setup. I don't know how clear and apparent it is. Yeah, there we are. Over here, but I have still got to activate Windows, because like Windows activation keys are like £100 now. What the hell? You know something is vital for everyday life when somebody charges you like tooth and nail for it, like arm and leg. Jesus. But anyways, another thing I have been working on. But it's not. I've had like 48 hours to develop things, so it's not too much. But I have been working on companion marking. Or the marking system, whatever you want to call it. This is from 1.12.2, that's one of the last things we developed in 1.12.2, and it basically is the means by which you can give commands to NPCs. So, if you have a companion, say you've found a kobold hireling at a nearby tavern, this is how you communicate with them to actually tell them to do stuff in your party. I previously had 15 different commands, and it filtered them through to check like which ones the current party you have could actually do. So if you didn't have anyone that was capable of mining, then you didn't get the mine position command, that kind of thing. And that was fine, unless you happened to have a fairly wide variety of companions. Because as long as any one companion could actually do that command would appear in the list, and there were up to 15 of them. So if you had a particularly diverse party, you had to scroll through 15 different commands to try and filter through to the one you actually wanted. And then we did have a bit more filtration with it, so that if you were staring at an entity, it would consider that to be the object of your command. If you were staring at a block, that would be the object. And if it was neither, then you were staring at yourself, effectively. But it was maybe not the most optimal solution. So, done a bit of a rework with this. Thanks very much to the Trans Game Dev Discord, by the by, because there are some game designers in there that give me a hand with this. But now we have categories. Now, bear in mind, none of this does a hacking thing right now because we have to fix mixing to get most of it working. But we have categories, and what will happen is you will boot in, you will default to the motion category, and then the only commands that we have to check are the ones in the motion category, and then we'll add a keybind so you can move from motion to combat to utility and back. So just sort of like spin the wheel 33%, 120 degrees, that'd be good. And what that means is that you absolute maximum have about 5 commands to choose from. That's before we factor in commands that your local party can't actually perform. That's before we factor in contextual clues of what you're looking at. But a maximum of 5 commands. And it also means that as a consequence of that, you will never, for example, accidentally issue a combat command when you mean to give a utility command. Like, you will never tell somebody to guard a position when you actually want them to mine it. You will never tell somebody to go to a position when you actually want them to attack it, so on and so forth. Because those commands do not exist in the same category, so they won't ever turn up. Which makes things a little bit easier, a little bit faster. There's a slight possibility that, like, you might have your motion commands set, and then you suddenly get into combat and you have to hastily switch to the combat thing. There's maybe a slight bit of time lost there, but for the most part, I think this should work better as a means of getting through to all of these commands. By the by, I think these are still all of the commands we had in 1.12. I think that this is more or less all of the commands a player could want. There's like maybe 1 or 2 more I can think of. Like, there's no command to have the companion put an item into a chest, for instance. But since they have, like, oh, how many even is it? It's like 4, 8, 12, something like 12, 13 inventory slots, including like their hands. There's a question of which slot are they putting into the thing. So we could say have a deposit like command, and then a deposit all command, that kind of thing. But yeah, this is what we got for right now. It is most of the things you'll be most interested in, like raising an army of the undead, to do. I do also have a qualifier for these now, which is simple, namely defining simple commands rather than complex demands. And that's not tied into anything just yet, but it's a question of there are creatures like zombies who are notoriously simple-minded. They don't really have a capacity for complex thought. You can't really give them like a flowchart to follow. It's basically you tell them what to do right now and they will do that until effectively they rot away entirely. Same with a large number of constructs, golems and the like. Even the flesh golem has like has a non-existent intelligence score. But I'm not 100% certain how or even if I should implement that. I just sort of put the is simple in just to make sure that if I eventually decide to, I can. But it's things like, I imagine one of the major things that people will get into necromancy spells for instance, is to raise a bunch of skeletons and zombies and whatnot, and then use them as a labor force, because they don't need to eat, they don't need to sleep, they can see in the dark naturally. Like, there's all sorts of benefits to having an undead workforce in Minecraft. But if I then define mine position as being a simple command, and say that zombies can only do simple commands, then you can only have those zombies all mine 1 block at a time. because quarrying is a more complex command because you have to tell the zombie has to know a particular like specific position, what it's looking for, mining out like the procedure of doing all of that, where does it put all the stuff it gets, that kind of thing. So quarrying is more complex, so a zombie theoretically shouldn't be able to do it. But then, is that necessarily making necromancy way less useful? Is there much point for players to go into necromancy then if they can't use their undead horde as their actual like workforce? It's like, So I don't know if I'm actually going to limit creatures like that, but that's a thing to bear in mind. Living data also currently has an unused current mark. This means that players can also receive it. And that's going to be a part down the line of figuring out how domination works. Because we can charm people and say that they can't deal damage to a given, like, to anything that's been that is charmed to them. We can say the same for domination, but domination implies you're also able to control them. Like for a non-player character, that should be a matter of the creature has now become a temporary companion. You give it orders, you determine everything. But we can't do that to a player because it would be absurdly unfun. It's like, imagine you get into a duel with somebody and they cast Dominate Person, you fail your save, and they just have you like walk off a ledge down to a pit into a respawn screen. It's like, okay, what could you have possibly done then? And it's like, if it's a particularly long domination effect, then you could just be watching somebody else play with your account effectively for like hours on end or something. So we never actually want to dominate players, but we want to give them the option to be dominated. That's a sentence I just said on Twitch, dear God. Okay. So we need we need players to also be able to receive the companion commands, whether or not the player actually does what the command says to do. In short. Which also theoretically serves as a nice little discreet intra-party like messaging system, because you can just ping a certain thing and all your mates on your team will know about it. That sort of thing. Anyways, let's get started. So down here we have Tick, and this is where almost all of the like creature types and abilities and such gets handled. And if we Control G, we will find it inside of the base Tick of Living Entity Mix-In, where obviously it's not working right now. Fortunately, what we can do is go to VOBus server, and is there a Living Tick event in here? Not right now. Okay. Just add a quick fix me, repair, mix in, and remove. Okay. Hey, look at. Hey, Espa. How you doing? Meow. Oh, I'm getting a little treat. Oh, thank you. A lot of my more physically active channel point rewards have been switched off for the time being, because I'm afflicted with old man bone disease. It seems. I have hardly moved at all today, and my legs are killing me. I went to bed last night, and I felt like they're about to like completely just like pop off. Why the CIA watching you? Because I'm basically programming mugging tonight. Tonight we are ensuring that you can beat another player unconscious and steal their main inventory. That is our objective tonight. There's theoretical gameplay pros and cons, okay? I don't have a huge amount of explanation for it. Okay, so let's see. Temp, living. There we go. Living update event. Oh yes, this workspace is also a bit hecked up because it doesn't really recognize any functions of anything that I try to talk it to, so it just has these like standard templates. I haven't figured out how to fix that right now, but that's all it gives me. Bit of a pain. So if events dot Get entity living. There you are. Why is it giving me all of these things? Are these things I've already used in this class? Is that what's showing me? I encourage you, Mixlang, for allowing me to throw hands. Yeah. But it's also just like, there's actual benefits to gameplay if you're able to, like, hit your friends and not actually hurt them. Like, how many times have we accidentally left-click a friend and then suddenly been mauled by their, like, legion of dogs? How many times has that happened? Bludgeoning damage doesn't count as actual damage, though. So, we should be fine there. You like because your brain isn't working after an ER visit? Oh, I hope you feel better soon. Very slow there, my trying to survive on my memory. Okay. Subscribe event. And now we should have a temporary fix to get living data running again. Let's find it. You can also, like, one of the most entertaining things with this particular effect is that you can, for instance, encounter a pillager outpost, knock them all unconscious, and steal their crossbows, thus pacifying them forever. In fact, that's actually a fairly efficient early game way of getting crossbows. Okay, well, we have everything off of cooldown there, that's good. Basically none of that mixing, basically all four of those abilities are mixing. So, nothing is actually working, despite it saying it's active currently, but I should be able... Perfect. I can actually turn them off again. Okay. So, next step. I just plunk myself here. Survival mode. I should be able to knock myself out. There we go. Okay, there is mixin used here as well to make this actually work properly. So I presume it will tell me when I can wake up. Let's find out. We'll take a moment. Yes, thank you, look out for this, dairy milk carrot, one of my favorites. That and fudge. It now occurs to me that I've hacked up. Because the part that controls the changing to your key bindings when you're in an unconscious, disembodied state like this is also mixing. And there is, in fact, no way for me to change that. Can I just, like, yeah. Which also means I'm basically perfectly fine. Oh, interesting that I'm semi-transparent. I guess that's part of the bus. I guess that's part of the client bus. But okay, we've gotten the things we wanted here. So yes, there's my inventory right there. There's my offhand item. There's my armor. There is my actual main inventory. If I move this around, it'll do that. Just what we want to see. But we want to also make sure that this is working in multiplayer, because in single player, in clients, your inventory is generally the only inventory you know about. Oh yeah, that's another detail. If you hurt an unconscious body, it damages the person whom it belongs to. If it's a mob, it just simulates that, but for players, it is actually hurting you. I should note, it is fairly difficult to knock people out. It is a non-trivial thing. So it's not like it's not like it's better to like only knock people out. For one thing, it doesn't kill them, but knocking people out does then make it a lot easier to kill them, because they can't retaliate in the slightest degree. But all the time that you're not actually dealing lethal damage to them, they are absolutely probably going to be dealing lethal damage to you. So, but okay, let's boot up the server. Because here's the question: what inventory are we going to find on the unconscious body of somebody else? Just need to remember that whoever goes unconscious is going to be unconscious for eternity. Okay, this is one of us. This is just Dev, and if I go to client 1, by the by, the command for switching game modes like this is F3 and then F4. Just to let you know. That's not something I knew about. Dev 0. Hooray! Where's Dev? Here we are. Okay. So we now have 2 accounts. Gonna put Dev here, me, on the right, into unconscious mode by knocking myself out. Dev could not be knocked out. Why? Oh, immune to bludgeoning damage. Right. Let's see, looking at this, I appear to be undead. So, let's see, species. Select. Let's just make me human. Another advantage of being a necromancer, I guess, is don't need to worry about people mugging your, like, army. Okay. Interesting. I noticed something immediately here, which is that one account isn't rendering, but the other one is, like, just fine. Okay. So this one, yes, this account is the one we don't care about so much. So that's presumably where Dev is currently. Am I? Yeah, I render just fine. There. Okay, check your inventory. It's empty, like mine. Let's put something in my inventory. And it does not appear over here. Okay, good start. That means we are seeing a separate inventory. Now, since we know that things are being weird here, let's give ourselves an item. Let's go with, a shield. Why not? Okay. Well, I correctly appear to have a shield over there. Does a shield... It does appear in here. Okay. So I should now be able to manipulate this screen by fiddling with this one. Oh, that's perfect! I'm actually a little surprised that this works as well as it does. Hey! I can now equip or unequip another player by knocking them unconscious. Okay. There's still a bunch that doesn't work right now, but yay. And also, of course, our friendo over here is completely incapable of getting back up because that's a key binding that they don't currently have access to. But, oh well. Not a lot I can do there. I am curious why the other player is not visible to them. Also, we seem to have duped, or did I give them a turtle shell? I sworn I only had the one actually. Did I just dupe? I really hope I didn't just dupe something. Let's find out. Okay, give me a diamond helmet and you a netherite helmet. How's that? Okay, and yeah, that looks fine. I think it's good. We're messing with inventory that doesn't, generally speaking, ever get accessed by a third party, but I think it's good. I think we're fine here. Definitely feels like this is being properly handled. So why does Dev Zero over here, this little shadow, why do they not render? Is that because I've said that if you're unconscious you can't see people nearby? Possibly. Who knows? I've done a lot of things in this dead environment. I mean, just look at that. Like, the amount of mixing alone. It's like, oi. Let's see. I can go to layer data. Find out if that is indeed my fault. Da-da-dum. It's not that. That one? That looks fine. Doesn't seem like it. It has to be, if it's doing anything, it's probably in the client over here. Player render. Okay. Player data, render data. So if render data body condition does not equal player data dot get body condition, so if your body condition is separate to that player's. Okay. So because Dev is currently unconscious and Dev Zero is currently awake, they can't see each other. They would be able to see each other if they were both unconscious. But if I make them both unconscious, I can't wake them up currently. So we'll call that fine for the moment. Now there's one last detail here, which is that we have 3 roam of Dev's inventory right there. But what happens if Dev logs out? If Dev logs out, then ideally you shouldn't be able to access their inventory, because dear lord would that be abusable. This isn't quite Rust. We don't really want to be doing that. Just nudge myself over here a little bit. Okay. So, Dev logs out. There is no longer a shadow over there. Good start. If I right-click on the body, nothing happens. Very good. If we log back in. Oh, and Dev is now apparently perfectly fine and dandy, despite the fact that there is still their body over here. So that's a problem, but it's not necessarily one I can fix for certain until I've gotten the, well, I guess now we have a way of knowing if we're, now we have a way of knowing if we are actually, like, unconscious. Okay, we just, oh. 0. Okay, and you in creative. Now if I kill body the unconscious dev here with like slash kill. I'm pretty certain it's actually going to kill me. There we go. Okay, so now let's knock out everybody and see if indeed we render again. So, quite the pose there, Alex. Dev 0 now unconscious. Dev now unconscious. Though apparently he has no body. Huh. Interesting. But we are rendering to each other. Like, hello. Why did Dev not drop a body? Is that related to... Is that related to the tick issue? I don't know. But Dev should now be able to access Dev Zero's inventory and steal their sword. So, hurrah! Yep. Nice. Could also steal their diamond helmet, but why would we? Ours is better. Okay, right. That then, I'll be honest, I was not expecting that to work so well. Like, immediately. So, hurrah for that. Obviously we need to get mixed and working properly to get things working actually, but that is by itself pretty functional. Now I should stress, you're not generally allowed to access your own unconscious body, or indeed your own dead body, because then you would be able to sequester items from your body that could then be completely inaccessible to anybody else. Effectively, like if you'd logged out with them. We don't want that to happen. If you're unconscious or you're dead, your items should be accessible. That I think is a reasonable standard. But if you log out, then your unconscious body just is inaccessible. I should also make it like immobile potentially, and definitely immune to harm. But right now that's a little bit trickier. Okay, so if we go to GUI player body. So we have this GUI, and it is fine. It is basically just a duplicate of what we had for the regular bodies, just all of them, dead or alive. But as we can see, our player bodies are quite a bit more capacious than our dead bodies, because dead bodies, we assume everything that you are carrying dropped anyways. So we need to do a little bit of texture work. Which means we need to boot up Glimpse and find wherever the hell I put the texture. Container body, right there. There's our default. Shouldn't be too difficult to get this working. Just want to be body unconscious. There we go. And refresh our resources so it knows it's there. It's not even my first break, and I've already fully implemented mugging. We can also currently mug people with the power of our mind, but I have invented mugging. Okay, here we are. I just need this. So that's what we currently have. So we logically need all 4 lines, just as a starting point here. It would help me if I actually just like made a code to render this box wherever there was an actual inventory slot, but for right now it's fine. would also help if I could highlight in the UI which slot was currently like the held, the main hand item. But for right now, this is... also, fun fact, this means that technically your unconscious friend is actually a bigger inventory than you. Is actually a bigger inventory object than a chest. Because there's more than 27 slots. Is it 27? 9, 18, 27... Yeah. Because there's like 36 plus 5... There's like 41 slots in an unconscious player. Okay, good start. Good start. So we just need 3 more over, well, 5 more over this way, and it'll be good. Except this is already right at the edge, so we need to, we're gonna need to tweak this a smidge. This is also a fresh install of Glimpse, and I could have sworn I had dropper capacity here. Nope, that's just dodge and burn. What? Color picker. There you go. There we are. Okay. And apparently R is for rotate now. V is for select. Oh boy. I'm... No. M. M is for... Okay. It's always nice to remember that questionable decision making is not exclusive to Minecraft. Just gonna make this real quick and dirty. Okay. It's gonna be a bit weird to look at, but I think it will be fine. I can do it like expanding this way a bit as well, just to balance it out, I guess. But yeah, right now it's fine. Okay. So when we draw it, we need to know exactly the width of this thing. So 176 was the old width. Should be somewhere in this vicinity. Yep. Okay. And now we need to know the new width. New width is 212. Okay, so what that means... This is going to be slightly off because it is off-center. But hey, it's a start. Are these... Yes, these are all lined up. Good, good, good. Need to remove this because I just changed the GUI code. So here's a question. How, like, we're gonna have a bunch of extra space. Do we put some use to that, or do we just leave it? Refresh that, and F18. Notice how the stream did not even in the least bit blink when I rebooted the client. Oh, I love it. Okay. Well, yeah, as I expected, it is off, but those slots do appear to be in the correct place. So let's add the same amount of space to the other side. So let's see, it was 176 to 212. 212 minus 176 is 36 pixels. So that's 248 width. So if we tell it it's 248, then that should recenter it. Did I not tell it to? I did. I did, but I didn't alter the I value based on it. Okay, right. So take that back down to 12. Let's see. Width is the actual main size. So let's go placing that. No longer shall we be perennially dropping frames because of high CPU usage. Oh, I love it. The sensation that I can literally just... I could, like... I could make a massive, colossal programming error and stick my entire machine into an unending, like, while loop, and the stream wouldn't even notice. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Alright, yes, because this is... This is centered for what it is, but this is not central. Okay. So change that back to 248, and it should fully center it. Is there another game where you can knock somebody out and steal their stuff? I guess Rust is about the only one that comes to mind. There we go. Okay. So it thinks it's wider than it actually is currently. And this does mean that the UI is disturbingly off-center. I can see that. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Don't know about you guys, but it's definitely gonna bug me. Oof. So let's see, 248 is the width of that. Right there. So what do we fill this extra space with? That's the question. I like the inventory arrangement. I think that's fine. What do we fill this extra space with? Still 60. Yeah, it's locked to 60. There we go. Ah, even. Okay. Yeah, I think having some identifier in here for which slot is currently being held is important, but it's not vital, at the very least. I love being able to manipulate inventories like this. Oh, that's lovely. Okay. Probably want to center this a bit better so it's not over here. It's fine if this is there. If it says inventory there. We can even have it say so-and-so's inventory, for instance. Or body of so-and-so. I think we... That would help us eat a bit more space at the very least. I don't think there's any reason to have anything major over here. So this is probably fine. Okay, let me grab another creature. Yeah, another thing is the unconscious body is constantly making a backup of everything that you were holding, and like all of your equipment, all the held items, that kind of thing. So when you log out, it's still holding the same thing, even though it doesn't actually have access to your inventory because you're logged out. What that then means is that as long as you're actually like able to manipulate your inventory, which you shouldn't be able to, but Mixon isn't working today, you can change what your body looks like the entire dang time. It's pretty entertaining that way. Anyways, let's get ourselves somebody else. Pillagers are my usual. Let's find something a bit different. We can knock out a creeper. There's an idea. Oh yeah, there is actually an idea. If you knock out a creeper, you still have access to all of the creeper's worn and held equipment, which is usually none. But it means that you could actually, like, give a creeper a crossbow. It's maybe not the best of examples, but suffice to say, you could give, like, spiders, like, flame swords, for instance, and because they don't render on the spider, you could unleash them on your friends and they would have no idea what's going on. A sign that says help. Let's say, let's go with... Drowned is tempting, but I'm pretty sure they die if they're not in water. Gassed. Okay, fox. Why not? It's my brand, might as well. Give him House of Cookie style. Okay, knockouts. That's certainly an appearance. Okay. There we are. We have access to the fox's inventory. So I could give the fox a netherite sword. Yep. It has the netherite sword. But if I was to give it like armor, it wouldn't be able to see it. I can give you basically anything, can't I? Very good. Okay. I believe mobs wake up whenever they're able to, so I believe you will actually like wake up in a bit. Whereas players, they get to pick whenever they wake up. I don't know exactly why they look like that, but they do. There you go. Okay. You up and about? You feeling fine? Coming out of your cage? Well, you're staying in the cage for the time being. I'm still here. Yeah? Holding it in his little mouth? Yeah. Come on, give me a little look. Just... Okay, yes, you're good. Right. Had me worried. Anyways, we will be back momentarily. After I take a little break, so that I'm not staring at code for 3 hours straight, because dear god, that would be terrible for my already aging eyes. So go grab yourselves a drink, and I'll be back in about 10 minutes. See you then. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a nice little break there. So, when we left off, we were doing a little bit of texturing work so that we could actually see where all of the slots in our player unconscious body window are, and it's fine. It's not bad. We could maybe stand to center the other player's inventory a little bit more, because it is longer than our actual one over here. But that would mean that this piece is going to be in a weird position. So how do we want to handle this? We don't have the right number of slots to actually just have all of the different individual rows be centered. We could nudge these slots to the right so that they're at least, like, the bulk of them are centered. I'm not sure, but for the time being, we're going to mainly focus on changing what it reads at the top there for its display. So that is fairly simple. Just create a translation texture component. I know what the lang for this would be. GUI.view. Unconscious layer. So how would we describe this? Unconscious form of unconscious X. How do we want to do this? For right now we'll have unconscious div. Actually, let's just have it be unconscious. Let's have that be the case for all of them. There we go. And we can use that in the other one. Let's see. GUI body. Container body, I think this also applies to if it's dead, which we don't want it to. We don't want a corpse to say unconscious zombie or some such. So let me see. How do I determine? How do I discern this? That's the question. Body unconscious. Open container. There's the player one. Yep. Which we like. That's good. Over here, we can feed just a boolean into this, and it'll tell it, I guess. Here's a thing. There's an idea. Yeah. Okay. So we want container. Do you want container body or GUI body? Yes, we want to check. What's that? Final boolean is corpse. Equals body in. Type equals VO entities dot boy, what, he dead, I guess? Powerful. What is it? Corpse. Dead. Makes a fair bit of sense. Okay. So then our GUI can check if the body container says if it's dead or not. Body container dot is corpse, then blah blah, otherwise blah blah. GUI corpse and GUI unconscious. Okay. And then we want to actually make sure that those are centered. Because right now, sure ain't. That name gets spent somewhere, that's for sure. It's not rented in here. Okay. Is that protected? Yeah, that's protected. Ah, boy. Okay. Let's see. GUI body is part of container screen. There. Drone is part of the foreground layer. Okay. We do want basically that again, but we want to actually alter the X coordinates of this. Second cold. Good. That means I've given it the right thing. Okay. That part, fine. This part needs tweaking. So, we have our title. And we can modify exactly where this goes. By, let's see, we want this dot width minus this dot font dot string random get class. Nope, no, those are what I'm looking for. String width, I think it is. Title dot get string. Any suggestions? Get string width. There you go. It would be nice if you suggested that to me in the first place, but bleh. Okay. So now everything that calls this should then therefore show up just fine. But this does not extend from that, so we want to make sure that we clear that over there. There we go. Okay, so that should put the title, rather than being way over here, let you be over this way. Should balance things a little bit. What is the like real world equivalent of this? I've knocked somebody out on like unconscious. I've rifled through all of their pockets, and I guess now I'm organizing their pocket lint? I don't know. What is this? I noticed there was a hole in a few of their pockets. I'm just like fixing it up. Toning for like wrong. Whoop, okay, yep, I did that wrong. Trying to think then, how did I do this wrong? Is it plus? Can't be plus. Surely not. How has it ended up over here, if that's the case? Of the entire screen minus the total width of the title over 2 should be correct. That should be the exact amount we need to censor it. So why aren't we? Why is that not working? I'm guessing title X is not what I want, for the simple fact that it will end up putting it basically way off center. Because title X, presumably, is a value that's already preset off to the side. Yeah, equals 8. What is it then? Should it actually be... Central should be width over 2. The amount away from the width that we need should then be the length of the string by over 2. But that looks like it's more than the width of it again. It's reliable, what is that? Interesting. Okay. What's the value here? Answer is it should already be this, but who knows? Let's change that to plus and see what the change of behavior is. Maybe it goes the opposite direction. I don't know. I know, strictly speaking, the names for every container in Minecraft are left-aligned. It didn't move at all. Interesting. It'd also be nice if any of these were named. Just draw the list. Oh. It's probably used predominantly. I'm going to take a wild guess by the enchantment table. String with shadow, draw string. I could just draw the string, but I prefer to actually use the text component. Oh, I'm an idiot. Never mind. Hang on. I changed it in GUI body, but GUI player body is the one I was actually just accessing. So of course I didn't see the change. Right, well we'll use this conveniently positioned unconscious form to debug this.
Bring that feedback.
Not okay, then return it. Yeah. Okay, now it's even further away. Fascinating. I wish I knew what exactly determined what it suggested. I wonder if unformatted component text is what I'm actually looking for. Is there any text in Minecraft that is centered? really be doing. This could really be doing in slightly different hierarchical mode, but I'll take it for the moment. I clicked the wrong thing there. Okay. Widgets, screens, edit book screen. Is that in the middle? No? I'm thinking wrong. Hang on. Come on, anvil. It's an anvil screen. Does the anvil... It has repair and name. That's a little off-center. Enchantment table, perhaps? Nope, that's way off. Brewing stand. Bingo! Brewing stand will do the trick. So where is the... Actually, brewing stand screen. Okay, title X equals X size minus string property width. That's a very different statement, but okay. So let's see, it should then be basically that minus title width over 2. That should then work. Every time I look back at the thing, every time I look at my unconscious body on the floor, because I'm apparently having an out-of-body experience at the moment, it's just holding exactly what I've just been fiddling with. Endlessly amusing. What can I say? I'm a simple person who desires simple players. Okay, unconscious dev is still way off for some reason. Okay, have they changed around what some of these titles mean? I wonder. Who knows? Let's just get rid of that entirely and see if that somehow works. This is not the kind of like UI detail that I expected to spend like half an hour on, but here we are. Because it's bugging me. Something's gone wonky here. What's going on? Cannot invoke that because font is null. Why is font null? How is font null? Oh, because that's in the init, not the initialize. Okay, I see. That's right, is because lying is a dum-dum. Hang on, I'm logged in. Why can't I access my own body? Okay, so another one of the reasons why you're not allowed to actually interact with your own body in when you're unconscious or dead is because then you could theoretically use like healing on it. Get back up. Which would then render being unconscious more of an inconvenience than anything else. Good thing I'm immortal. How did we do this? Okay, well that's clearly not the answer. Is there anything in here that's changing? No. Oh, I can see this. That is bizarre. I don't even remember why it's a title y minus equals 16, but here we are. GUIs are... GUIs and graphics in general are not my specialty. AI is my specialty. Want me to make an entire ability system? Sure, I can do that. Want me to make the capacity to knock people unconscious? Yeah, I can do that. Want me to make the capacity to disembody people? Yeah, I can do that. Hey, we got it working. Now it's fine. Somehow. Yeah, okay, stays perfectly centered. Very good. And if we have a quick word with our foxy friend over here. Clipped into the ground and then died. We're good? We're good. Okay. Why is... Oh, because that's using the non-player one, so the code is old. That's why. Okay. We're not going to talk about what just happened. Not even a little. Say the hurt noises for foxes in Minecraft are gut-wrenching. It's like every time that you see like a dog enemy in a video game, it's like it's mauling your face off, but you don't want to hit it because it sounds so painful. No one likes the sound of an injured animal. Unless that animal happens to be a spider, in which case, go for it. Okay, unconscious fox. Good. Right. Last thing, I think, is going to be checking how that reads on the corpse. Because it should say... Well, it actually shouldn't say anything, because I don't think we translated it just yet. Yeah. Body of blank. There. That so Lang gets in. Now there's a short list of things that will spawn bodies, so we're going to get ourselves a pillager. How are you doing? Effect, give the pillager needled for 6,000 seconds, and then murder him. Okay, what you got for me? Body of pillager. Grand! So that is all working just fine. I do feel like this could do with a little bit of a rearrange, but I'm not entirely certain how. We could get really fancy and just like slightly move apart the two. Oh no, we couldn't because it's not a number. Damn. I was gonna say we could have like the inventory like actually in the middle here and then whatnot, but no, we can't do that because of the slightly frustrating amount of slots there are. Oh well. Let me know if you can think of a solution to this and making it look better, because As I say, not a graphics person. But okay, right. There is a list of things that are missing in the Discord. So, let me see. Point 1. Living data needs a list of item stacks to contain the contents of the body slots for non-player entities. Meaning, if you put stuff into an unconscious entity's inventory and they then wake up, those items should stay with them. So even if it's not part of their equipment. So, let's go up here. Bludgeoning makes the most sense for this, I think. Let's see, private. Non-null list items stack. How many slots is this? For the non-player entities, it was, let's see, 4, 8, 12 total, minus 6 for their actual equipment and held items, so 6 items. I think. Pretty sure. So we call it pockets, why not? Let's see, it'll be registered in container body. Super excited to play a most dangerous game with this mechanic. I don't know what you're referencing unless you mean the story about people on an island with a rich guy. Which is basically just Fire Festival, let's be honest. But okay, so there is the body right there, the abstract body, which has equipment, which conveys to the body inventory, which is how many? There's the inventory there, the armor items, the hand items. That's the thing we want to store. How big do we make that? 12 slots, apparently? 6. We made it 6. Okay, good. Don't need that. Don't need that. Do need this. Okay. Story about people are being hunted alive, as opposed to when they're being hunted dead, but okay. Okay, so serialize. Write this down. So, if... how do I put this? If it is not a player, is the question, but I don't necessarily have a readout here for if it is a player. Entity, there we go. Set entity. If entity. Oh, it's not. This dot is player. Walking Dead is a story about being hunted dead. I mean, no, you're being hunted alive. Just the things that are hunting you are dead. Okay, so if not is player, then we need to store the contents of this. And then if that tag exists inside of the MBT data that we create, then next step. Also, that actually shortcuts a lot of stuff that I had before in here. If it's not a player or its game profile isn't null, which is an actual player. I've just duplicated something there, but it's probably it's probably fine. That's part of the tick. There, just tidy that up a little bit. Okay. So let's do the serializing first. So if we're a player, we need to list NBT of pocket items. Effectively what we'll be able to do with this is knock out the fox, give the fox some random junk, and then the fox can wake up, and if it gets knocked out again, it should have those same items again. Or if it dies. But if it dies, it should drop those items. But that's... Anyways, let's not contemplate that. No, that's fine, actually. Okay, and compound dot put pockets. Pockets. There. Okay, next one. MBT dot contains pockets, and this would be 10 because I believe that's compound. List pockets 10 AFK for int equals 0, I is lower than 6, I plus. Okay, and we should have a way to read item stacks back. I know that much. I just can't remember what the function is off the top of my head, and because of the way that the workspace is currently borked, it's a little hard to actually look it up. Write inventory, read inventory. There you are. Item stack dot read. There. Okay. That should mean that that part works. So now we should have that information actually set. We probably want to actually add some functions to retrieve that. And we probably also want to be able to set it. Okay. I trying to ponder. I know how this will work for unconscious bodies. I'm not 100% certain if it should work the same way for dead bodies. If by some means a creature gets resurrected, for instance. Currently there's no function for respawning, so we'll just say that this is for unconscious bodies. So let's see, where is respawn? Respawn, right there. So let's see. We need to know our data for this from the abstract body. Inventory. Right inventory to list. Bag. Where do we get the value for bag? Not there, that's for sure. This is the code, by the way, for it actually like keeping a log of everything you will wear. What is? I can get the inventory. Surely in here I have to get inventory. Health equipment, armor inventory. It just gets a subset. So I should be able to just say. Basically do that, but with the rest, I think, yeah. Yeah, the pocket entry. Okay. So, if we tell the unconscious body when it respawns to first take that body data, set pocket inventory to this.get pocket inventory. Doesn't like it. Why not? Let's see, bro. No list is not acceptable to that. Okay, that's fine. A no list is ideal though, just so we don't have any errors in there. There works. Alright, so now when they wake up, they should have that data. That should be in their living data. So the next thing is that when they get knocked unconscious, we need to set the pocket inventory of the body created. Actually, that needs to be the case whether or not it's dead or alive. Because that way you can, like, knock somebody out, put a note on their body, they wake up, and then if they die later, the players, for instance, if you're doing this as like an adventure map, can go and find that dead body and find that note. Or you can put it onto like a boss mob and it'll be on their body when the players kill them. That kind of thing. Anyways, I am rambling. So, got the pocket inventory, we need to set the pocket inventory. So 4, I equals 0, I is lower than 6, I plus plus, this dot inventory, read inventory from MBT, body inventory, there you are. So it's I plus 6, inventory dot get I. Or set stacking slot, I guess. prototype inventory. Really, of all things. There has to be a thing for that, surely. Get stack, remove stack, set inventory slot contents. That, make sure it's actually initialized, although it shouldn't matter too much. Okay, so when we create a body of any kind, we need to get the pocket inventory and then set to the body. Okay, alright. So there is create. That's also a detail I like here. Play a crit attack noise when the creature is knocked unconscious. It feels like there should be a very satisfying flop noise when you knock somebody out. Takes you long enough to get there. Okay, could be another one for the corpse. Should do the same thing. Where does that happen? Corpse spawn event. There you are. Players do not need this pocket inventory because they have orders of magnitude, multiples, in fact. So, okay, corpse dot set pocket inventory, living data dot for entity. This would be the victim. There. And that's just if we create a corpse of the player, which is irrelevant. Yeah, player condition change, we don't need to worry about too much. Okay. Right. Testing it. Pocket inventory is stored already in the body, so that part's fine. We are storing it now as part of the body itself, as well as the living data, which we are also reloading it from. This should be set to go. Should be set to go. Let's find out. So, step 1, create a pillager. Step 2, knock the pillager out. Step 3, fill the pillager's pocket inventory with nothing. Just random junk. A way that people generally do this already in existing Minecraft stuff is that they will basically give the mob a custom loot table that just has guaranteed drops. This, however, is theoretically accessible in survival mode without you having to do that. So, that's handy. Okay. Oh, you're a special guy, aren't you? How about that? Okay. Unconscious pillager. Let's give you some warped planks. And a bit of granite. And add turtle egg. Because why not? Again, just gonna screenshot that so I know what's going on. Wait for you to wake up. Any day now. I should stress there is a hard limit on the maximum amount of time someone can spend unconscious. They can still take bludgeoning damage whilst they're unconscious. But what you got? Nothing. Interesting. Not even your crossbow. Interesting. Well, we have an error. Then, what happened there? Something about when they were read back, I think. So what happened? I think I see what happened there. That should be 6+. So basically it was getting all of the armor, which was empty, and then they held items, which were also empty. So the whole thing ended up empty. Right. Yeah, like, I like the idea that people can actually have, like, in like a hardcore mode, especially, people can have actual brawls and encounters without being potentially kicked off the server. It's like, it's one thing to die in a barroom brawl. It's another thing to die in a barroom brawl that no one actually meant to kill you in. Okay, there's unconscious pillager. Let's get egg. I don't think I've implemented shift clicking into this. I don't really want to test it right now. So when he gets up, he should have that stuff in it. Shouldn't take too long. Hey, Lofter. Hey there. I am just about to go on break. Do you have equipment, sir, that I can, like, knock you out? No, come back here. Sir, stop. Dude, kindly stop wandering so I can knock you out. There we go. Yes! Okay, we kept the contents that time. Hooray! Last test. If we kill them, are they still there? No, because I'm pretty sure the the actual, like, mix-in for making them spawn a corpse at that point is off at the moment. Okay, need another Jimmy. Get on the ground. I notice he's losing his... He keeps losing his actual crossbow. That's a little disconcerting. But anyways... let's give you some trousers, why not? Oh, didn't spawn a corpse because not needled. Right, of course. Silly me. I should make this go faster for development, shouldn't I? People should wake up much faster. Come on. There we go. Okay, I need to give you the needle status effect now. Sir. Sir. You hold for 6,000 seconds. Murder! Wow, that was fast. And he has the stuff. Grand. Okay, good. That means the bodies are being populated appropriately. Hooray! We can now seed the pockets, as it were, of unconscious mobs. Nice. Nice. Okay, I'll be back in about 10 minutes. I think we can move on to something a little different for a hot second. It's not... I need to think of something that can actually, like, be done without mixing working. But I will be back in about 10 minutes, go grab ourselves a snack, and I'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everybody, to the final hour of our evening tonight, and we're actually a little out of stuff to do. I did not expect to be so successful getting multiplayer inventory connections working. I was fairly certain that you didn't know about any of our players' stuffs, but one detail we quickly need to check here is we've given all mobs essentially 6 extra inventory slots, and we need to make sure that if they don't spawn a body, that those items still actually get dropped. Because right now they only drop a body if they have the needled status effect, or if something else is like a config setting is making them drop it. But let's just knock you out. I notice you don't have your crossbow. That worries me. That strikes me as a bug. There should be a crossbow here. But let's just give you some cobblestone, a bit of dark oak maybe. There you go. Wait for you to stand up, and then I'm going to murder you. And then that should drop cobblestone and dark oak. Should being the operative word. Come on. Come on. Any day now. I really need to expedite this. There you are. Okay. Monk. That's not dead, that is unconscious. We've established that you keep your stuff. But you didn't respawn. They're supposed to respawn, and then the respawned mob dies. But evidently that's not happening for some reason. That might be because the mixin's out, I don't know. There. Just gonna have to wait for you to completely heal up, I guess. Well, it worked that time. There's the stuffs. Good. Not entirely clear why it worked that time. Let's see, should be part of the body here. Attack entity from. Yep, that's all fine and good. So next, that's fine as well. If body is not alive or body is unconscious, respawn body, which is this function right here, where it just literally respawns it and removes the actual body. I don't have an on def for the actual body. I suppose here we can just return false. It's probably related to that. I'm probably doing more damage to the body than to the actual mob. That might be why. Because there's no, like, on def here, because then we theoretically could actually respawn another body. That part's all fine and dandy. I don't think we have a function in Abstract Body to drop the contents of the inventory on def. Let's have a look here. Drop inventory. Never mind, it's right there. Okay, so why do we not see the pillager have his crossbow? When that is absolutely a thing that we should be seeing. But unconscious bodies shouldn't ask for body with, like, all the gubbins. Where are they? Set body. Okay, copy from. Okay, good. Right, set body. If it's not null, set the soul ID, get the RNG. Check drop chances. For the unconscious body though, that's false, which means we don't care, just always include them. And should steal the gear? No, doesn't steal the gear. Ah, I wonder if that's it. Get held equipment right there. Yeah. I suspect that's it. I imagine if we murder the pillager outright, that there will therefore be a crossbow. Okay, so that is a detail I need to remember. Yeah. If you knock something out that's like wearing equipment and such, it should be on the unconscious body. Because otherwise they wake up and they don't have it anymore. Okay, we'll check that detail. Okay, needles. Do you have it? You don't. Okay. We have a problem somewhere here. Why are we losing that? Let's see, if check drop. Chat-based self-care, yes, exactly. Although, given the current state of my joints, I'm not sure if the stretching counts. But hey. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put a fix me here, I guess. Okay. Fix me, ensure equipment is preserved appropriately. There. Okay. Right. New detail. Because I mentioned charming and like domination earlier tonight, so we've got the mark. Let's plug this there. So we want we basically need a map of UUIDs to integers, namely meaning a map of creatures to duration, to determine what creatures you are currently being charmed by and what the impact of that is. For players, it currently is mostly just going to be roleplay. For mobs, though, it will have some significant features once I can get mixed and working again. Anyways. UUID, good to stretch even if joints are suffering. True, but also suffering. And we'll want another one of those for domination. We could theoretically make one map do the same thing and just have this be a pair. Like, a pair of integer and charmed slash, I suppose it could be a bit mask. There's a point. A pair of integers in that case. Not even an integer, just an integer and a byte. But we'd also not be using, like, most of the byte. Let me think here. Charmed, afraid, dominated. That's 3 discrete states. But you can have all 3 of them at once, theoretically. It'd be weird to get them all from the exact same entity, but you could have all 3 of them. So let's see. armed, feared, dominated. I can never remember if there's 4 values in a byte or 8. I think it's 8. 8. Okay, so yeah, we could theoretically have 8 different states here. We're only going to use 3 for the moment. So we will need a pair of integers. What do we call this? Brainwashed? Is that effectively what this is? Status map? Controlled? Yeah, we'll just call it controlled. So for the tick event, you want to go through all of that. For UUID and control map dot key set. Pair, integer, integer. Okay. And we want to say that we're going to be increment all durations in control. There. So let's see. UUID dot, this will be control map. Put UUID value, pair of, we'll say it's bitmap first, or bitmask I should say, first, and then data.second -1. I'm misremembering that, get second and get first. There. Ints, controllers, I guess, would be control map.size and then control map.remove if is, I think, a thing. Undefined for the type map. I swear there's a remove if for this. Can I see the values of hash map? Remove objects, remove node. For each, yeah, I can do that part. No remove, that's annoying. It's much easier. So list, UUID, expired. Just create ourselves a quick list, and then control map dot for each. Not quite sure what it is as a value, but UUID pair integer. Okay. If pair dot get second is less than or equal to 0. Time for games time. Best look at your codes and muggings. Well, thank you very much. Okay, thanks for stopping by. Always good to have you. Okay. If expired list is not empty, it has a mind of its own when it comes to suggestions. Then, mark 30 because we're about to remove some. Although, trying to remember. If there are any, we need to mark dirty. But also, if we remove any, we need to mark. Basically, we just need to mark dirty at this point, regardless. Okay, so expired for each UID. Control map dot remove key UID. Is that on it? Removes the mapping for a key from this map if it is present. Okay, good. So if not, control map dot is it. There. Okay. So now there's a theoretical problem here, which is that we have a byte value that can tell us if something is charmed, feared, or dominated all at once, but we only have one integer value. So if you charm something, and then you dominate it with when the charm is down to like 5 seconds, and the domination duration is like several minutes, you get several more minutes of being charmed as well. Is that a sufficiently onerous reason to add like 2 more maps? I think it might be. Yeah, I think that's a decent reason to add more maps. That's more data, but... and more of a hassle in storage, but... so let's see... Charmed? Or map charmed, I guess? Oh, wait, nope. This is going to create... at least I think that might create a concurrent modification exception. I think. Because we're running through the key set there. So... oh, set. Yeah, that's why. Okay, I can cheese this a little bit. There. Okay. So if that gets everything done there, I think that's okay. Private, static map, UID, integer, let's just create a handler function here because we need to do that multiple times. So it's good to have a function that just does it for us, rather than typing it out multiple times. So let's see, handle control. Hey, good to see you. We are currently working on the foundation, at least, of oh, $10 are subscribed. Thank you very much. The foundation of charming entities and such. And then comes fear and domination once I get mixing working. We have finished the code that lets you mug a player in multiplayer. Oh boy. Still the odd kink here and there, but then, well, you'd expect that to be.
Alright, let's bring that beat back.
So charmed, the conditions that affect when you're charmed is that you cannot deal damage to any targets, you cannot deal damage to nor target with your AI any creature that's charming you. So mobs that are charmed won't attack you if you're the one that charmed them. They'll attack anybody else that hasn't charmed them though. That will extend to players if you try to deal damage, at least directly, to an entity that has like charmed you. Then it should just fail. But if you take any damage, including from them, then the charm can break. Okay, that should solve that problem. As near as I can tell, that is correct. That shouldn't cause a concurrent modification issue. Dominated is a tricky one. Lucian and Dazer, if either of you have an idea of how I can make someone be dominated in a video game without just erasing their agency, do let me know. I certainly don't. So it's mainly just like you will receive their command pings, but it's entirely up to you. Okay. Store it inside of our serialize and deserialize. Oh yes, bodies now have pockets. So if you knock something out and it wakes up, it'll still have that item. It'll drop that item with it if you kill them as well. Which is a nice touch. Series of compound NBTs for this. So let's see, charm data, cool. suggestions are out, so I just have to guess. Right, unique ID. What is it? Yeah, read unique ID was correct. Block state, block position. Wait, that's a little irritating. Okay, it's really untranslated. I guess. Okay, and add that to the list. Hey. And I've put this in the wrong thing. This is the read, not the write. There we go. Okay, I felt this could be maybe nested a bit deeper, have all of these status effects being in their own, like, compound MBT, but it's probably fine. At least for right now, there's honestly a lot of data in this thing. So, either way. Okay, repeat that for feared. Into the whelps. If you are afraid of something, then you are not able to voluntarily move close to it, which is to say you try to move closer to it, then you'll just be prevented. But if it moves closer to you, you aren't like rebounded. Let's see, creatures cannot target, attack, or actively move closer to any creature that they are frightened of. So it's like charming, but with the added thing of you can't get close to them. It's also not broken by damage. Okay, that gives us a nice handy little list for all of them. So then we need to read that to populate the lists. So if MBT contains charmed 10, which would be a list, wouldn't it? So it'd be a 9. Charmed list equals MBT get list. Charmed 10. And then it would be... I don't know if it's worth me making helper functions for this, because if it is just free, like the same thing over and over. Yeah, for right now at least, this is fine. Okay, so for int I is 0, I is linear from charm list dot size. What's this? Okay, UID equals MBT util.read unique ID charm data get int array. Is that not correct? slight typos, right? And it's also not correct. Not correct. Let's see where that's supposed to go. Okay, that's just a list of... Okay, right, yes. Why is it not liking mine? Does it check? It sure does. I don't know why it doesn't just take one, but okay. Of which to name DOM list is not nothing. Or DOM data. Okay. This map dominated equals read control map that. There. Okay, that greatly reduces the complexity here. Side. So it would be map to control map to list, I guess. I don't really need to rename these, but it's good practice to do so. be nice to make a bit more of a freeform thing, so there was a variety of different things I could actually put into this rather than having to handwrite every single map. But you know what? It's like 1:45. I am not that fussed at the moment. Never come to these streams expecting clean code. Oh boy. Okay, so all of that. If one of them is populated, all of them get put in, and then we read them all back through right there. Okay. Grand and good. No part of it will work right now because we need mixing to get any part of it working, but yay. We also don't have anything that will inflict any of these statuses. So we currently have the command knockout, which will take a target or yourself and just sets their bludgeoning damage to the maximum. It actually deals functionally infinite amount of bludgeoning damage, but as I've said before, there's a cap. So you're unconscious for the maximum you can be unconscious. We could add more functions to Charm, Fear, and Dominate as well. Although since all of these require an aggressor, as it were, as well as a victim, it might be a bit more complicated. I think that's fine for the moment. Just gonna mark that complete on my list here. Okay, mobs need an extra AI task to cause them to drop combat and flee from any creature they are frightened of. So that's effectively... Creepers have such an effect. Where are you? Add goal, avoid entity. So avoid entity is the major thing. If we take this... and then basically just have it be any creature that can be identified from the entity's feared map right there, then we can actually just get that whole running really easily, except that we don't, again, have anything to actually populate it with. So let me just come down here and add a boolean here. Map feared contains key entity.get unique ID. I think. That'll do? Nope. Because that one's capitalized. God only knows why. There's our different checks. Could I make it like an array? Or a list, at least. A non-null list of maps. That could get complicated. A map of maps. No, that'd be... We're getting to nesting at that point. Oy. Okay. I think that is all that we can get done in the time we have left tonight. We could get this going, but we would need to make an entire new command to actually use it to make the creatures actually be afraid of you. So next time, hopefully, I will have gotten Mixin working in this workspace again. I don't know why it's not working, it just decided it wouldn't, but then it also decided that it wouldn't import properly at all to begin with, so I had to make a whole fresh workspace and just import the code. But if I've gotten Mixin working, then we will work on that some more next week with those statuses. Otherwise, we will probably try and get at least selecting commands for your companions, your NPCs, and such. And that'll be on the Tuesday next week. Meanwhile, on Thursday, I have a live stream with all the Madness crew doing something. usually involving a vessel of some description. Then on Saturday we have the carousel, thanks random games to the patrons, and back on Tuesday with more of this. Meanwhile, in the videos I make are on youtube.com/comic. There have been not precious many of late because I can't really film anything if it says activate Windows at the bottom right the whole time, and that will be caught on the camera. So yeah, but working on it. There's teething issues when it comes to splitting your computer setup in two, basically. And as ever, everything I do is powered by you at the wonderful place called Patreon at patreon.com/lying, where you get to pay for my food, housing, lighting, warmth, and medication. Thank you very much to everybody that supports me in that regard. Other than that, hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time. I should probably be on a list for what I've done